Minimalism isn't just about getting rid of clutter. After 60, it's about cutting out the quiet thieves in your life, the things that steal your time, drain your peace, and sap your energy without you even realizing it. And here's the twist: most of them aren't sitting on a shelf or hanging in a closet. They hide in your daily habits, your calendar, even in the way you spend your mental space. You might think you're simplifying by donating a few sweaters, but what if the real freedom comes from removing commitments you don't enjoy, decisions you don't need to make, and noise you don't want to hear? Today, we're going beyond the typical decluttering checklist. We're going to talk about the less list, the surprising, often overlooked things that once gone, make life after 60 richer, calmer, and more joyful. And the best part? These changes can save you money, give you more time for the people and hobbies you love, and make your days feel lighter almost instantly. If you're ready to trade more stress for less noise in life, hit like and subscribe, because here at Wise Aging Seniors, we're all about living lighter and happier, one simple choice at a time. Meet Fenora Dale, 72, from the quiet marshlands of South Carolina. For nearly 4 decades, she ran a bustling elementary school, where every day was full of noise, schedules, and small emergencies. She retired dreaming of slow mornings, open afternoons, and the peaceful rhythm of her coastal cottage. Like many new retirees, she thought minimalism meant clearing out closets, donating old furniture, and passing along family heirlooms she no longer used. She did all of that. The closets closed easier. The rooms looked cleaner. And yet, something still felt heavy. It wasn't until one rainy Tuesday morning, while staring at her calendar, that she realized her real clutter had nothing to do with objects. It was in the routines she never questioned, the obligations she'd outgrown, and the small habits that ate up her days. She was still waking up to an alarm she didn't need, still saying yes to every lunch invitation out of politeness, still signing up for committees because she always had. Her life was lighter in stuff, but just as crowded in commitments. Fenora began to wonder, what if minimalism after 60 wasn't about owning less, but about needing less? Less pressure. Less overthinking. Less of the things that quietly drain the joy from your days. That shift changed everything: her time, her energy, even her sense of freedom. And the less she chose wasn't random, it was intentional, targeted, and surprisingly easy to act on. Today, we'll walk through those exact changes, the 10 things she discovered she needed less of, not more. And trust me, some of them will surprise you. 1. Less obligatory volunteering. For years, Fenora believed the only right answer to "can you help with this?" was yes. Like many seniors, she had a lifetime habit of giving her time freely, whether to her church, her neighborhood association, or her local community center. It wasn't just about helping, it was about feeling useful, connected, and dependable. But somewhere along the way, that generosity turned into an invisible weight she carried week after week. She served on her town's beautification committee, a role she once loved. In the early days, she was planting flowers with neighbors, organizing park cleanup days, and watching kids enjoy the space she helped nurture. But over time, the work shifted. The meetings became longer, the debates pettier. Should the benches be pine or cedar? Should the holiday lights be warm white or cool white? She'd leave wondering why she'd given 2 hours of her precious morning to discussions that didn't bring her joy. The guilt was the hardest part. She told herself, "I have the time. I should help. They're counting on me." But here's the truth: time after 60 is not free, it's irreplaceable. Every yes to something that drains you is a no to something that could fill you up. One spring, she decided to step back. She wrote a kind note thanking the committee for the years of teamwork and explaining she wanted to focus her energy elsewhere. She half expected disapproval or disappointment. Instead, the response was warm and understanding. That small decision gave her back 2 golden mornings each week. Now, those hours belonged to her, painting sunrises in her kitchen, strolling barefoot along the damp sand while the tide pulls back, or sipping coffee on her porch without checking the clock. Here's what Fenora learned: saying no doesn't make you less generous, it makes you intentional. It means you choose to give where your joy, energy, and presence have the most impact. That's the kind of giving that leaves you richer, not depleted. Have you ever stepped away from something that didn't bring you joy anymore? Share your story in the comments. I'd love to hear how it changed your days. 2. Less doctor hopping. After she retired, Fenora did what she thought was the responsible thing. She booked regular checkups with multiple specialists. A dermatologist for her skin, 2 cardiologists with slightly different approaches, an endocrinologist, an orthopedic doctor for her knee, plus a dentist, optometrist, and primary care physician. At first, it felt thorough. She believed having more doctors meant more protection. But over time, she noticed something unsettling. The more providers she saw, the more confusing her care became. One fall, she realized she'd undergone the same blood test 3 times in 2 months, each ordered by a different doctor who didn't know the others had already done it. She also noticed a medication overlap. 2 doctors had prescribed similar drugs without realizing it, which left her feeling dizzy and fatigued. The appointments themselves started to feel like a part-time job, eating up entire mornings, costing more in coparis, and leaving her with a stack of medical paperwork she didn't always understand. That's when she made a change. She decided to simplify her care to one trusted primary care physician who truly knew her history, plus a single key specialist for her heart health. Together, they coordinated her treatment, shared test results, and avoided unnecessary duplication. She set up her medical records to be accessible through one online portal so every provider could see the full picture. The difference was immediate: fewer appointments, fewer bills, and a lot less stress. She no longer had to remember which doctor had said what, and she had the peace of mind that her medications were being carefully monitored. Even better, she gained back time. Hours she once spent in waiting rooms were now spent walking the beach, reading on her porch, or calling her grandchildren. In the US, where medical costs can quickly add up, fewer providers can mean fewer errors, fewer coparis, and more coordinated care. For Fenora, less doctor hopping wasn't just a way to save money, it was a way to protect her health and her sanity. Have you ever felt like you were juggling too many doctors at once? Let me know in the comments. Your story might help someone else rethink their care. 3. Less loyalty to old routines. 4 years, Fenora's evenings followed the same script. Dinner at 6, a little cleanup, then straight to the couch for hours of television. It was a habit that started when she was still working as a school principal. Back then, it was her way to unwind from a long day. But even after she retired, she kept the same pattern, almost without thinking. It wasn't that she loved the shows so much anymore, it was just what she did. One night, as she clicked through channels she didn't really care about, she realized she was watching more out of habit than enjoyment. The same programs, the same commercials, the same endings she could predict before they happened. It struck her, she had freed herself from the rigid schedule of work, yet she was still living on autopilot. The shift came when a neighbor invited her to a community music night at the local library. It wasn't fancy, just a gathering of people playing folk songs, blues, and a little jazz. She almost said no, thinking she'd be too tired or that it wasn't her thing. But curiosity won, and she went. That night changed everything. She laughed, clapped, even sang along, and left feeling lighter than she had in months. From then on, she began replacing 1 or 2 of her old TV nights with something that sparked real connection. Sometimes it was music night, other times a local lecture, a cooking class, or a sunset walk with friends. The television was still there when she wanted it, but it no longer held her hostage out of routine. Breaking that loyalty to old habits gave her more than just variety, it gave her back her evenings. She slept better, felt more energized, and discovered new friendships with people she would never have met from her living room. Here's the lesson: the routines that once served you may not serve you now. You don't have to throw them all away, but you can make space for what excites you today. What's one old routine you've been holding onto out of habit? Share it in the comments. You might inspire someone else to make a change. 4. Less fridge overload. Fenora always believed a well-stocked fridge was a sign of being prepared. Growing up, her mother's refrigerator was always full, leftovers, jars, and fresh produce tucked into every corner. So, even after moving into her smaller coastal cottage, she kept the same mindset. If there was a sale on berries, she'd buy 3 cartons. If the farmer's market had fresh greens, she'd take home more than she could carry. And of course, there was always an extra block of cheese or 2 just in case company dropped by. But the problem wasn't the buying, it was the using. More often than not, those berries grew fuzzy before she could finish them. The greens wilted into limp clumps at the bottom of the crisper. And in the far back corner, there was always something unidentifiable in a container she didn't dare open. Every week, she tossed spoiled food into the trash, feeling guilty for wasting money, time, and good groceries. One afternoon, after throwing away yet another bag of slimy spinach, she decided she'd had enough. She realized she wasn't just wasting food, she was wasting the peace she thought stocking up would give her. So she made a shift. Instead of shopping for a week or more at a time, she started following a 3-day meal rotation. She'd buy only enough fresh items to last for 3 days, planning simple meals she could easily prepare. When the fridge began to look bare, she'd go out and restock, often turning the short grocery trip into a chance to walk, meet neighbors, or visit the farmer's market for just what she needed. Almost instantly, the science projects in the veggie drawer disappeared. Her fridge became easy to navigate, her meals fresher, and her grocery bills noticeably smaller. She even started experimenting more, cooking with what she had on hand instead of letting extra food go to waste. Here's the surprising part, her kitchen felt calmer. Without a fridge jammed full of just-in-case items, she stopped feeling overwhelmed every time she opened the door. If your fridge feels like it's feeding a crowd when it's really just you, or you and your partner, it might be time to rethink how much you keep on hand. What's one thing you always overbuy but rarely finish? Let me know in the comments, I bet you're not alone. 5. Less mail-order temptation. It started innocently enough. Fenora would be flipping through the channels in the evening and stop on a QVC demonstration. Shiny cookware, miracle skin creams, the latest must-have storage solution. The hosts always made it look irresistible, and with just a quick call or a click, it could be hers in a matter of days. Add in a few glossy catalogs in the mailbox and some tempting special offer emails, and before long, mail-order shopping became a regular habit. The real trouble came with automatic refill programs. She signed up for one thinking it was smart, her favorite vitamins delivered every month without having to remember to reorder. Then she added a skincare subscription. And then, a gourmet snack box that she told herself was a treat. The problem? She wasn't using the products as fast as they arrived. Slowly, unopened boxes began stacking in her garage, some she'd forgotten about entirely. One rainy afternoon, while reorganizing her storage shelves, she counted more than a dozen untouched packages, 3 months' worth of vitamins, 2 duplicate moisturizers, and enough snack packs to feed her entire book club for a week. That was when it hit her, these conveniences were quietly draining her wallet and filling her space with things she didn't need. She sat down at her kitchen table with a cup of tea, opened her laptop, and cancelled every subscription she didn't actively use. 2 of them alone were costing her nearly $50 a month. By the end of the year, that added up to $600 in savings, money she now uses for things that truly add value to her life, like art classes and weekend trips with friends. The change wasn't just financial, it was mental. No more surprise boxes showing up on her doorstep. No more guilt over wasting products. No more clutter creeping into her storage spaces without her even noticing. Here's the takeaway. Auto-ship deals and catalog buys can be helpful only if you use them consistently. Otherwise, they're just clutter that shows up at your door disguised as convenience. Have you ever found yourself with unopened deliveries you forgot you ordered? Tell me in the comments, I'd love to know what your most surprising find was. 6. Less bathroom product multiplication. For most of her life, Fenora's bathroom cabinets looked like a mini drugstore. It wasn't intentional, things just accumulated. A half-used bottle of shampoo she didn't love, followed by a new miracle brand she saw in an ad. 3 different body lotions, each with a slightly different scent. A drawer filled with hotel-sized toiletries from trips over the years, all saved because they might come in handy. And of course, a collection of expired products hiding in the back, quietly taking up space. The clutter wasn't just physical, it added minutes to her mornings. She'd open the cabinet and scan through bottle after bottle, deciding which to use that day. The mess made it harder to find the items she truly liked, and often she'd end up buying replacements simply because she couldn't see what she already had. One Saturday, while searching for a bandage, she knocked over a cascade of half-empty tubes. That was her breaking point. She spread everything out on a towel and sorted it into categories: lotions, shampoos, soaps, dental care, skin care. The volume shocked her. There were 5 open shampoos, 3 facial cleansers, and enough mini hotel bottles to fill a small tote bag. Fenora set one simple rule: one favorite per category. One shampoo she loved and knew worked for her hair. One facial cleanser that didn't irritate her skin. One body lotion with a scent she enjoyed every day. Everything else, duplicates, half-used maybe products, expired items, went straight into a donation box, for unopened items, or the trash. The change was immediate. Her bathroom shelves looked clean and spacious. She could reach exactly what she needed without moving 6 other bottles. Mornings became faster and calmer, and she never again bought something just because she couldn't find it. More importantly, she realized that having fewer choices didn't feel limiting, it felt freeing. She wasn't chasing the next perfect product. She already had it. If your bathroom feels like a retail aisle, maybe it's time to choose your one favorite per category. Which bathroom product do you have the most duplicates of right now? Share it in the comments. I bet it's more than you think. 7. Less weather prep panic. Living on the South Carolina coast, Fenora knew the importance of being prepared for storms. Hurricanes, tropical depressions, and even the occasional ice storm in winter were part of life. But over the years, her idea of prepared had quietly turned into overprepared. It started with a flashlight in every room, then extra blankets stacked in the guest closet, a tower of bottled water in the laundry room, and bins of canned goods tucked under the bed. She even had 3 different first aid kits, each missing different items. Her storm prep became a year-round storage problem. Closets bulged with supplies she couldn't easily access, and she often forgot where things were when she actually needed them. During one mild storm season, she discovered she had purchased a new battery lantern, only to later find 2 unopened ones in another closet. That's when she realized her safety net had turned into clutter. Determined to fix it, Fenora spent one weekend gathering every single emergency item from around the house. She spread them out on her dining table and quickly saw the duplication: 4 rolls of duct tape, multiple weather radios, and canned goods that were close to expiration. She made a plan: one compact, complete emergency kit that would hold everything she truly needed in one place. She chose a sturdy plastic bin with a lid, packed it with a flashlight, fresh batteries, a small radio, a first aid kit, a few days' worth of shelf-stable meals, water, and a portable phone charger. She even added a laminated checklist of what to grab from the fridge if there was time. The bin now lives in one easy-to-reach spot, ready to grab if needed. The change wasn't just about saving space, it gave her peace of mind. No more wondering if she had enough supplies, no more buying duplicates just in case, and no more digging through 3 closets in a rush. Here's the truth: being prepared doesn't mean being buried under gear. It means having the right things, in the right place, at the right time. What's one emergency item you've discovered you own in multiples? Let me know in the comments, it might surprise you. 8. Less financial clutter. When most people think about decluttering, they picture closets and garages. But for Fenora, one of the heaviest sources of clutter wasn't taking up space in her home, it was hidden in her wallet, her filing cabinet, and her online accounts. Over the years, she had collected multiple checking and savings accounts at different banks, several credit cards from old store promotions, and even a few small investment accounts she'd forgotten about. None of it seemed like a problem until the mental load of managing it started to weigh on her. Every month, she juggled different due dates, login passwords, and paper statements. She'd make a payment on one card only to realize she'd forgotten another. Once, she accidentally paid a bill twice because she couldn't remember if she'd already done it. And while she prided herself on being financially responsible, she began to notice that this scattered system was costing her, in late fees, in unclaimed interest, and in pure mental stress. One rainy afternoon, she decided to treat her finances the same way she treated her closets: simplify and keep only what she truly used. She made a master list of every account, card, and investment, then highlighted the ones she actually needed. One by one, she closed duplicate bank accounts, paid off and cancelled unused credit cards, and consolidated her investments with a single trusted advisor. To keep her bills from taking over her mind, she created a monthly bill pay session, one morning on the first of the month, where she sits down with her coffee, pays everything due, and schedules the rest. She also switched to paperless billing for most accounts, reducing the constant stream of envelopes in her mailbox. The result? Her financial life went from feeling like a scattered jigsaw puzzle to a clean, clear picture. No more shuffling through drawers for account numbers, no more surprise charges from a long-forgotten credit card, and no more mental clutter every time the mail arrived. Here's the truth: financial clutter can be just as exhausting as a messy house, and clearing it can free up not just your money, but your peace of mind. What's one financial account or subscription you could close today without missing it? Share your thoughts below. You might inspire someone else to do the same. 9. Less holiday overload. 4 years, the holidays were a marathon for Fenora. She loved the season, but it often left her drained. Weeks of planning trips to see family, attending back-to-back gatherings, baking for every event, and buying gifts for an ever-growing list of people. By the time January rolled around, she felt like she needed a vacation from her holiday break. The tipping point came one year when she found herself rushing from a friend's Christmas brunch to a grandchild's school concert, then straight to an evening party, barely having time to change clothes in between. She realized she had spent the entire season moving from one obligation to another, without actually enjoying the moments. And while the gifts she bought were appreciated, she noticed the grandkids often played with them for a week or two before losing interest. That's when she decided to step back and redefine what the holidays meant for her. She kept the traditions she truly loved, like decorating her tree and baking cookies with her daughter, but cut out the activities that felt more like obligations than joy. Instead of spending hours shopping for the perfect presents, she shifted to giving experiences. For her grandchildren, she introduced Nana Days, special outings with just her and one grandchild at a time, whether it was a trip to the aquarium, a picnic at the park, or a baking day in her kitchen. The result was transformative. Not only did she save money and avoid the stress of crowded stores, but the memories created during those outings lasted far longer than any toy or gadget. Her grandkids began looking forward to their Nana Days all year, and she found herself actually relaxing during the holidays instead of rushing through them. By choosing less holiday overload, she gave herself the gift of presence, time to enjoy the season without being buried under a schedule or a shopping list. If you could remove one holiday obligation and replace it with something you truly enjoy, what would it be? Share your thoughts in the comments. You might give someone else the courage to do the same. 10. Less digital noise. For all the talk about simplifying life after 60, one form of clutter often gets ignored: digital noise. Fenora didn't think much about it until she realized her phone buzzed so often that she had started checking it automatically, even when nothing important was happening. Group texts from extended family, weather alerts, promotional messages from stores, Facebook notifications, and email newsletters she couldn't remember signing up for. Her days were constantly interrupted. One evening, while trying to read on her porch, her phone lit up 6 times in under 10 minutes. Not one of those alerts was urgent. That's when she realized the problem. She wasn't controlling her technology was controlling her attention. Determined to reclaim her peace, she spent one quiet afternoon going through every setting on her phone. She turned off notifications for all non-essential apps, left a few overly chatty group texts, and unsubscribed from dozens of promotional emails. She kept alerts only for what truly mattered: calls from family, her doctor's office, and reminders for appointments she had set herself. The change was instant. Her phone stopped buzzing every hour. She no longer felt the impulse to check it constantly, and she noticed her mind felt calmer, less pulled in 100 directions. Even better, she found herself more present in conversations and activities because she wasn't half distracted by the next ping or vibration. She also created one more rule for herself: no phone in the bedroom at night. Instead, she charges it in the kitchen, so her mornings begin with quiet coffee and a view of the sunrise, not a scroll through notifications. The best part? She didn't lose touch with anyone or miss anything important. What she lost was the noise, the constant stream of digital interruptions that was stealing her time and mental energy. Here's the truth: minimalism isn't only about physical spaces. Cutting digital clutter can give you just as much peace, and you can do it in a single afternoon. If you could remove one constant notification from your phone forever, which would it be? Share it in the comments. I think we'll see some familiar answers. When Fenora began this journey, she thought less meant loss, less stuff, fewer activities, fewer options. But what she discovered was the opposite. With each change she made, she didn't feel like she was giving something up. She felt like she was gaining something far more valuable. Her mornings were no longer a blur of rushing between commitments or searching for misplaced items. She could linger over coffee without a to-do list tugging at her. Her home felt different too. Shelves once crowded with just-in-case items now held only what she truly used and enjoyed. Closets opened easily, drawers slid without catching on clutter, and her kitchen counters were clear enough to actually cook without moving things aside. The visual calm began to spill over into her mood. She felt lighter, more in control, and more content with what she already had. But perhaps the most profound shift happened in her mind. Those constant shoulds that had followed her for decades: I should go to that meeting, I should keep this in case, I should say yes, started to fade. She realized she didn't owe her time or space to things that no longer brought her value. Instead, she could say yes to what energized her and no to what drained her, without guilt. With fewer distractions and obligations, she found herself more present in the moments that mattered, laughing with her grandkids, experimenting with new watercolor techniques, or taking slow evening walks by the water. And the best part? She knew that these changes weren't a one-time clean-out. They were a way of living that would keep her life lighter for years to come. If even one of these ideas gave you breathing room, hit like, share it with a friend over 60, and subscribe, because your next chapter should feel lighter in every way. You've worked hard for your time, your space, and your peace. Now it's time to protect them.